The hate is real. The hate is real, Kathy. I see you hating on us from a mile away, Kathy Engelbert. We all see it. You out here trying to find Caitlin Clark. You out here finding the one person who's actually bringing money into this league. What a joke. You're mad that the Indiana Fever are here right now. Y'all didn't expect us to get this far.
The WNBA has once again reminded everyone why its leadership is constantly under fire. And this time, it's not about a questionable call on the court. This goes far deeper. The league actually decided to discipline its biggest star for daring to speak the truth that millions of fans have been saying all along.
I really didn't expect it. We got Sophie Cunningham exposing the whole league agenda. Exposing them. Caitlin Clark mocking them all on Twitter, all on Instagram, everywhere, because they are.
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's once-in-a-lifetime guard who has completely changed the landscape of women's basketball, was hit with a $200 fine for a harmless joke on social media about the refs. Think about that. The same Clark who's packed arenas, skyrocketed TV ratings, and dragged the WNBA into the national spotlight didn't get penalized for a dirty play or unsportsmanlike behavior. She got punished for posting 4 simple words. Refs couldn't stop us. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Has WNBA officiating gone too far?
During the game, we saw here, you know, the Fever players celebrating. I would assume based on the reaction that this was after the Lexi Hull steal and everything. And Caitlin Clark on Instagram commented this: refs couldn't stop us. Elite bench mob. It wasn't for the lack of trying. Glad they're having fun and celebrating like no other teams. Will she get fined for saying that? Yeah, she got fined.
The timing couldn't be more absurd. The Fever, even without their superstar leading the charge, have pushed further into the postseason than they have in almost 10 years. They shocked the defending champs, the Las Vegas Aces, by stealing Game 1 of the semifinals. A stunning upset that rocked the entire league. You'd expect the WNBA to lean into that moment and showcase the excitement of its product. But instead, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and her team decided the bigger priority was policing Caitlin Clark's Instagram comments.
When you're on the WNBA's time or the NFL's time or the NBA's time, when you're on their time, criticizing the officials, calling out the officiating, I've seen players get fined for that. But when you're on your own time, well, now, other than Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark seems to be the 2 players that come to my mind of players getting fined, criticizing the officials, doing it on their own time, quote unquote, off the.
Just think about it. Rather than spotlighting the fight, the upset, and the fact that the Fever are literally rewriting history, league officials were busy lurking on Instagram like school hall monitors eager to hand out detention slips.
Today, Caitlin Clark got fined $200. Kathy, what do you think you are accomplishing by that? What kind of message do you think you're accomplishing by doing? You're not even making an example out of her by finding her an exorbitant amount of money. You are literally making a joke out of yourself by finding her such a little.
Here's what actually went down. The Fever's official page shared a photo of the bench celebrating after a big win. Caitlin Clark, still out with her groin injury, sitting in street clothes but fully engaged with her team, decided to drop a couple of comments. The first: elite bench mob. The second: refs couldn't stop us. That's it, just 4 words, delivered with the same playful humor fans have come to expect from her. 4 words that perfectly echoed what Fever supporters have been saying all season long. And how did the league react? With a fine.
What world do we live in? Like, I'm pretty sure she just said the refs can't stop them celebrating. This isn't even her going at refs. It's literally like if you say the word refs and you're an Indiana Fever player, you're gonna get fined. If you say the word refs as a Fever player, the word referees has to be spoken, cannot be said by an Indiana Fever player, otherwise it's a fine. And the worst part is if they got fined for celebrating. So I don't think, only she got fined, not everybody. There's other people on the floor, everything. She's not, like, they're celebrating, the timeout's been called. or the foul's been called. It is what it is.
This is the same league that's shrugged off cheap shots at Clark all season. The same league that's let hard fouls slide, plays that anywhere else would have been called flagrant. Yet suddenly they find their courage when it comes to punishing a lighthearted social media comment. That's not accountability, that's pure hypocrisy on display.
We know how this works because Sophie Cunningham has told us how this works. If you talk about the refereeing, if you talk about the officiating on the Instaface, on the TikToks, on the Twitters, any of that social media, in the public, in the interview, if you mouth it in the shower, Kathy Engelbert will peek in and look around at you and point at you and be like, you're fined. Even though she won't clean up the officiating in her trash-ass league.
And this is where the absurdity reaches a whole new level. Caitlin Clark isn't even playing in these playoffs. Her second season was cut short after just 13 games, sidelined since July as she rehabs her injury, forced to watch her teammates carry the fight without her. Yet somehow, despite not even being on the court, she still wound up in the league's crosshairs. What does that tell you? It shows the WNBA's problems go beyond officiating. They're actively trying to silence the one player willing to speak up. Clark's response to the fine said it all. She jumped on Twitter, posted a screenshot of the offense, and wrote, "Got fined $200 for this, LOL." She even tossed in some laughing emojis and doubled down, promising the Fever bench would be even louder in the next game. That's leadership, taking a cheap penalty and flipping it into motivation for the team. And of course, Sophie Cunningham couldn't resist chiming in, joking that maybe they should launch a GoFundMe to help Clark cover her massive $200 bill.
WNBA definitely got to play these women more. You got to pay these women more, because what the hell? Is a $200 fine. This picture right here is giving me Mom Made Pizza Rolls vibes. Mom Made Pizza Rolls and everybody. Ah! Caitlin Clark was fined $200 for her comments she left on the IG post. She said refs couldn't stop us, meaning they advanced to the next round despite the refs trying to throw them a curveball every game, despite having to play against the refs. And the league said, "Oh hell nah, you gotta run me that 200. You got to run me that 200.
Here's the reality. The money doesn't matter. Caitlin Clark's WNBA salary sits around $80,000, but her endorsement deals with Nike, Gatorade, and just about every major brand have already made her a multimillionaire. For her, a $200 fine is nothing more than tossing a coin into a fountain. The sting isn't in the cost, it's in the symbolism. The league wasn't handing her a bill. They were sending a warning. Don't push back against us. But here's the problem. The warning completely backfired. All it really did was shine a spotlight on the WNBA's backwards priorities. Instead of fixing the glaring officiating issues that fans and players have been complaining about all season, Kathy Engelbert's office chose to punish the one player bold enough to call it out. And let's be honest, Clark's comment wasn't even close to crossing a line. She didn't attack an official by name. She didn't rant, curse, or take shots at the league. It wasn't personal, it was playful. A four-word quip that echoed exactly what Fever fans had been saying themselves. Indiana beat both the Aces and the refs. That's not misconduct. That's just telling the truth.
Sophie has got jokes. She retweeted this. That's really going to break the bank for her. Starting a GoFundMe now. Sophie, you got jokes. Hun, you got jokes. Yeah. So Sophie Cunningham Central, I'll donate.
Meanwhile, the problems Clark pointed to are still eating away at the league from the inside. Blown calls, whistles that change from one possession to the next, referees losing control until every hard foul feels like it could erupt into a brawl. Players are fed up, coaches are over it, and fans are downright drained. We've watched entire games collapse under officiating chaos. The infamous Fever versus Sun matchup, which spiraled into 5 technicals and multiple ejections, is just one example. And yet, instead of addressing those obvious issues, the league is more concerned with monitoring Instagram comments. The optics couldn't be worse. While Clark was being fined for stating the obvious, the Aces were celebrating Aja Wilson's 4th MVP award. Think about that contrast. One of the league's most decorated veterans showered with recognition, while the league's most popular star gets punished for speaking her mind. That's not balance. It's a rigged narrative. And let's be clear, this goes beyond Caitlin Clark. This is about what kind of league the WNBA wants to be. Will it step up as a credible, Respected professional sports league that welcomes criticism and uses it to grow stronger? Or will it shrink into a fragile PR machine that silences its stars while pretending its flaws don't exist? Right now, Kathy Engelbert's office is leaning hard in the wrong direction.
Rather than finding players for being excited on the bench and for letting it be known how trash your referees are, why don't you start finding referees for not calling fouls? Why don't you start putting that type of energy into making sure the game is played better? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Because that would be nice. That would be nice if you could do that.
Caitlin Clark didn't damage the WNBA by typing those 4 words. She exposed its reality. She gave fans the voice they've been waiting for. And by fining her, the league only validated her point. The WNBA's pattern has become all too predictable. Punish the truth tellers, protect the system, and hope the backlash fades away. Instead of tackling the glaring problems with officiating, they go after anyone bold enough to call it out. Golden State assistant coach Natalie Nakase found that out when she was fined for pointing to obvious bias. Indiana's own Stephanie White has been outspoken all season about the inconsistency and lack of respect from referees. Even Becky Hammon, yes, the same Hammon whose aces often benefit from those favorable whistles, has admitted publicly that the officiating across the league is flat out embarrassing.
The physicality is out of control, that's for sure. I mean, you can bump and grab a wide receiver in the NFL for those first 5 yards, but you can do it in the W for the whole half court. You put 2 hands on somebody like that, it should be an automatic foul. They have the freedom of movement. Freedom of movement. There's no freedom. And I'm not saying that we're not fouling too. I'm not saying that.
When voices from every corner, rival coaches, insiders, even respected veterans, are all raising the same concerns, the league should be paying attention. Instead, the WNBA's response never changes. Issue a fine, silence the critic, and carry on as if nothing's broken. That's what makes the punishment of Caitlin Clark especially insulting. Look at the bigger picture. The Indiana Fever are in the middle of a miracle playoff run without her. 6 players sidelined by injuries. Their superstar stuck on the bench since July. And still, this team has fought its way back to the semifinals for the first time since 2015. They survived a nail-biting 3-game series against the higher-seeded Atlanta Dream. Then, against all odds, they marched into Las Vegas and stunned the 2-time defending champion Aces with an 89-73 beatdown in Game 1. That wasn't luck, that was toughness, discipline, and Kelsey Mitchell exploding for 34 points, just 2 shy of the franchise's playoff scoring record.
But if this is the WNBA foreshadowing, we're seeing how you're acting on the bench. We're seeing how you're talking to the officials on the bench. We will tee you up. Now, whether I think that she deserves a tee for it or not, we're not even going to get into that. What if this is just saying, hey, we're going to tee you up if you continue to get at the officials, if you continue to talk up the officials, if you continue to show up the officials on the sideline.
A performance like that, a show of grit and resilience, should have been plastered across headlines as a celebration of women's basketball. But instead of embracing the moment, the league managed to undercut it by slapping Caitlin Clark with a fine. Think about it. The star who wasn't even playing was punished simply for hyping up her teammates from the bench. How out of touch do you have to be to turn a feel-good story into yet another controversy about leadership? And then the double standard couldn't be clearer. On one side, Aja Wilson is crowned MVP for the 4th time, praised as the polished face of the league. On the other, Caitlin Clark, the player who moves ratings, fills arenas, and drives merchandise sales like no one else, is penalized for typing 4 harmless words on Instagram. Meanwhile, her teammates, Mitchell, Hull, Boston, Sims, completely owned Game 1, while Wilson stumbled to a miserable 6 for 22 shooting night. Yet somehow, the real headline wasn't Indiana's dominance. It was Clark's Instagram comment being treated as the problem.
Aces couldn't stop her. I actually don't think that the Aces perimeter, honestly, defense or offense is very good, but specifically defense, they just couldn't find an answer for Kelsey. They were sending 2 on her at different times, but the Fever were running cutters matters. Kelsey was making her way to the rim. Now, I will say the Aces defense is scary around the rim because you have somebody like Asia who averages over 2 blocks a game, and she's just there waiting and ready to block your shot if you get too close to the rim. But Kelsey Mitchell, I mean, she was just finding her spots, getting to her lanes, hitting those open threes, all of the things.
The irony almost writes itself. Clark gets fined for saying refs couldn't stop us, and then the Fever march into Las Vegas and prove her right, dismantling the league's favorites on their own floor. If the WNBA had any vision, they would have spun that into a marketing goldmine. Look at this team. Look at this underdog run. Look at the future of women's basketball. But instead, they doubled down on silencing criticism. It's like Kathy Engelbert and the league office are allergic to positive publicity. This fine isn't just a bad decision. It's a textbook example of how not to run a professional league. Rather than spotlighting the stars bringing unprecedented attention to the game, they nitpick, control, and stifle. Rather than tackling the one issue uniting fans, coaches, and players, officiating, they punish anyone bold enough to say it out loud. It's the same outdated mentality that has held women's sports back for decades. Keep the players in line, protect authority at all costs, even if it means strangling growth. And the most frustrating part, none of this had to happen. If the league put half as much effort into fixing refereeing as they do into monitoring Caitlin Clark's Instagram, this controversy wouldn't even exist. Real accountability, proper training, and actual transparency would build trust. Instead, they hide from the problem while the players are left carrying the entire league on their backs.
The money that Caitlin Clark has generated for this league, all the tickets sold, all the jerseys, all the record revenue of the ratings, the television deal, and they're going to put their hands in her pocket for $200 for this. I'm like, hey man, do we need to call the armored guard? Do we need to have all this? And we need to deliver it directly to Kathy Engelbert's office. As a matter of fact, Caitlin Clark herself should be able to make an appearance, and she should do how Ice Cube did, when he used to run up into record labels. I'm saying, bring a bat. Caitlin, bring a bat. Bring the black arrow.
Caitlin Clark's response to that fine showed exactly why she's bigger than the game itself. She brushed it off with a smile, reminded everyone her teammates would keep bringing the fire, and proved once again why fans connect with her on a different level. She won't bend to league politics. She won't let petty punishments derail her focus, and she sure won't let Kathy Engelbert or anyone else silence her. That's real leadership. That's authenticity. That's why her following isn't just big, it's historic. But the bigger disappointment isn't the $200 fine, it's what it represents. The WNBA had a golden moment to ride the wave of Clark's influence and Indiana's improbable playoff run. The drama was there. The personalities were there. The momentum was there. Instead of harnessing it, the league tripped over its own obsession with control. This wasn't just a small mistake. It's the exact reason women's basketball has struggled to take the next step under Engelbert's leadership. Every time progress is knocking, the league chooses authority over growth. Every time it should embrace its stars, it shuts them down.
It is madness. It is madness, and I mean this. Like, the amount of people that are like, "Oh, I hate this team." It's like, why? They're excessively celebrating. They're excessively celebrating. They're not there talking down on other teams. They're not doing the Alyssa Thomas. They're not doing a Phoenix Mercury and shit talking other teams' fans. They're not doing Phoenix Mercury and shit talking the other team's players, their coaches, their all of this stuff. And then when they lose, they're silent and they dodge everything. Hell no, they're just celebrating. They're just celebrating. They actually find somebody for saying refs can't stop. The refs won't stop us.
League couldn't be clearer. Under Kathy Engelbert, control matters more than accountability. Instead of fixing the flaws that frustrate everyone, they hand out fines. Instead of celebrating the stars fueling their rise, they police their words. And they're willing to risk all the momentum Caitlin Clark has sparked just to protect a shaky image. So here's the real question. How many more opportunities will they throw away? How many more times will they punish players for speaking truth while ignoring the truth itself? Because if the WNBA is ever going to thrive, it won't come from silencing Caitlin Clark. It'll come from finally hearing her. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your take on the WNBA's officiating? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Click the video on screen and we'll see you in the next one.